welcome everyone to Sunday Sentiments.
Of course, this is a hate crime.
And if she's found guilty, then she has to face the consequences.
They normally end up killing some particular kinds of people.
It's a violation of human rights.
That's a very traumatic event.
So I just wanted to ask the panel about their own opinions on this topic.
Okay, Keshi, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize what you said about girls and women having to police themselves. We had this topic today with Imani and Shakira about when young girls are going out in the night, or as they have the right to do because they are now grown-ups. But when they are going in these spaces where we have these aggressive and toxic men who are just ready to hit a woman or just be violent, that girls now have to not even, it's like you're not allowed to react when somebody insults you or somebody does something to you. You should shut up because, you might end up being stabbed to death. So I think this is a very bad development in society where women are heading to a place where you have no right to speak up for yourself. You cannot defend yourself. You cannot even be in these spaces because there's always that threat of being attacked or killed or stabbed. I think it's a sad development. And I was just reading here the other day when at the beginning of this campaign, End Violence, Gender Violence Against Women on November 25th in Ankara, Turkey, that women, or was it Istanbul or Turkey, one of those, Istanbul or Ankara, one of those cities, women were out in the streets protesting. And then they were met with police violence, including tear gas, rubber bullets, as they tried to break the barricades to march on a pedestrian street. And this took place in different places in Turkey. It was Istanbul and then also Ankara. It's just showing you women have no right even to protest or to march for their rights in certain countries. So it's really sad. And that's why these 16 days of activism are very important to highlight that women's rights are human rights. So it should not be something extra on the side. It should be included in the rights, in human rights. And it's very fitting that these 16 days of activism are ending on the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day. So we hope that, change can come. And it's a pity that it's going that way for women when women have made so many strides in regarding rights.
Thanks, Keshi. First of all, I didn't even know it ends on the 10th. I know it ends on the 10th, but that's also Human Rights Day. That's pretty ironic as well. And also what you said was true. Jamila herself did say that she goes out feeling scared that, something might happen to her. What kind of life is that? And we are in a Western country. We're not even in a developing country where people might think this is where these things happen. This happens also in Western countries and so-called developed countries. Beryl, do you have any comment about what Keshi said about Turkey? Because you're actually from Turkey. Maybe you can give us your thoughts in response.
Yes, actually, the idea of campaign arises from one girl that she was burnt alive this summer, and it was really shocking. And I had like nightmares for 1 month of this girl because they are putting pictures on her on the news everywhere, Twitter, Facebook. They're just sharing her. I also follow her case on the court. I mean, what's happening? And there is one, there was something signed that is Istanbul Convention that we re-signed as Turkey, like that we are not protecting anymore the right of women, and our president is saying that whoever will mention this convention again will be sentenced. So it's like we are supporting rights of women, and we are just being threatened by our president publicly saying that we will be sentenced.
Wow.
I have really, that's so sad. That's so out of any human rights, women rights. but it's happening every day. I swear it's happening every day. One woman is killed in Turkey with no reasons. Someone is just decides and they go with a knife to kill some woman in the street. And what I believe is like to showing this campaign that is not only developing countries, it's everywhere, Europe, UK, USA, Canada, everywhere is same. But the thing is, in Turkey, for example, the case is like, as long as they're showing the news that these people that are killing the women or like abusing economically, sexually, they are not sentenced. They don't take high sentences, so they are encouraging the man. I'm sure that they put these things on the news. They are saying that this man is just freed from the prison, and this gives the encouragement to the other people that has just this tendency. And I don't support that we should share the men that are not getting sentenced, but we should continue to remember the names, to make awareness that this is happening, and this should be sentenced to fairly, because this is incredible thing. It's not
campaign. So Imani, Kirigo, and then Shakira, please. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, all this talk about violence against women and men not feeling entitled and not saying, being able to take no, reminds me also of an experience I had, which I've talked to with others before, where I rejected someone and didn't show interest, but that person pulled me here, pulled me away, holding me. You know, I was getting scared and pulled me away. And I was too scared to shout, or because he seemed like he could do violence with the way he already had acted towards me, and also saying words after. And the sad thing is, the only way I actually got help out of the situation was that my cousins and my sister and whoever asked another guy to come and help me. And that made me so sad that I had to count on another guy to save me from this guy who clearly was him pulling me away. And I was being too scared because I just felt like this is bad news. He could end up hurting me. So women are always afraid, as you guys said, that if we say no, they would react in a certain way. We could end up being hurt or even worse, killed. And if we don't say nothing, also bad things will happen. It's like we can't win.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Imani, thank you very much for sharing a personal story, real life stories here on our panel of something that happened to you. And I know you're a very strong, empowered girl, but in that situation, you felt so scared. And again, it's back to having to police ourselves. You're thinking, if I do this, then this will happen. And if I do this, it's like constantly policing ourselves. How do I behave so that this guy is not even more violent? And then you're with other girls, but still you don't feel safe. So they have to go and bring a man to save you. And here we're trying to build or bring up empowered girls. But at the end of the day, as empowered as you are, if you're in that situation, you have no power, unfortunately, because it's death or surviving. And that is so sad. It's so scary and so sad. Really, something needs to be done. It's just unbelievable. This is in Denmark, and I know Danish women are very strong, very empowered. But in that situation, what can you do with somebody that looks like he could really harm you? Sad. Kirigo, please.
I'm just agreeing with what everybody said. It's like we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. It's like we have no power, we have no say, we have nothing. We were just supposed to accept that kind of treatment from these weak men, because it's really weak men. And we know, we are not saying all men are like that. We are well aware that there's some good men let that be put out there. This is not a discussion about how wicked or how bad men are. This is a discussion of about how some men are and what can we do so women can feel safe. We know there are some good guys out there, but then there are also the ones who seem to be, I will call them the weaker ones. They are weak, because if you're, the only way you can feel you are empowered is by, you know, talking down to a woman or committing a violent act against a woman, then you have the problem and you're the problem. And a woman should be able to say no without even thinking, oh, how am I gonna say it so I don't hurt him? We should have a right to say, you know what, please leave me alone. But it seems like you can't even say that.
Thanks, Kirigo. I mean, I think there's Imani, Jamila, Keshi, Catherine, everyone is in agreement that damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's where the issue is. And policing yourself, thinking, how do I say it so that I'm not harmed? Or what should I say? Should I speak up? Should I not? It's just, it's ridiculous, and something needs to be done. I think Shakira had a point, and then Catherine, and then we will have to Maggie. Maggie, where's Maggie? Yeah. So let's have Shakira, and then Maggie, please, then Catherine.
Personally, like, the thing about ignoring people and like not saying anything if they say that kind of stuff, see, I think I've said this a lot on this channel as well, that I'm usually very proactive, like the way that I say things back. I'm usually very quick with my words, and I will not just sit there meekly and just nod or like walk away, usually when this kind of stuff happens. But the two times where I didn't, and it wasn't because I didn't want to, I just didn't notice until after, I've had garbage thrown at me by some men in a car because they wanted to get my attention so they could ask if I was legal, like a legal age. And another time was I noticed after a while of walking down like some different streets that a man was following me. It was like, I could tell that he was following me, first of all, because he was being really creepy and I was taking sideways trying to get away. And he was wearing a big puffy black jacket when it was like 27 degrees outside. That kind of stuff. But the way that Kirigo was also saying, damned if you do and damned if you don't, I don't know. I feel like personally I've hit this point where I'm like, I'm either gonna get called a bitch by some random person for saying something, or get called a bitch because I'm ignoring him instead of answering him. So either way, I'd rather insult your confidence where I know that I can be safe, because I'm still trying to be safe in that way. Like insult you and your confidence, and you want to talk down to me just because I am not interested in you. I at least want to be able to do that, because that's a way that I can empower myself. That's how I feel personally. So some people may think that I'm a bit too harsh in the way that I say things, or I'm a bit too quick to be rude to people, but I can already tell by just looking in their faces or in their eyes or in their posture, however they're standing, that either way, this is not going to end in a good interaction. And I haven't really had any good experiences with that kind of stuff. Nobody has ever actually been nice coming up to me and asking me for, like, I don't know, my phone number or something. It's always some creepy comment that they always make when they're together with their dudes. Like Mil said, trying to impress other men by degrading women.
Okay, thank you, Shakira. And still, please be careful. Yeah, I know you do want to be able to stand up for yourself, and I understand that, and I'm the same, but please do be careful. Margaret and then Catherine, and we really will need to wrap up. It's funny how we said it's gonna be like a shorter session, but yeah. Margaret, please.
Okay, I'm just going to do a summary of what my experience when I was around that age, around 15 years. I was going to the shops, being sent around 3 a.m., which is daylight.
Yeah.
So the problem which I had, or maybe the person saw that I had a Jackson 5 cape. So yeah. I felt people were following me, shouting, but I didn't know it was me, because normally when you talk on my back, I don't hear.
Yeah.
So when I got closer to there was a shop, a shoemaker who was in front of a shop. So he saw them following me, coming, pursuing me, calling me names. and so just to be a woman. And that time it was even bad because of you are a woman. They can say things that maybe you took their money and you didn't want to pay. So either way, like you say, either way, when you ignore them, you still get it. When you talk back to them, you still get it. And this thing of women wanting to be equal, I think many men it didn't go well with them. And instead they become even more worse.
Yeah.
They punish us even more because they don't understand what it means. So that was my story when I was a little girl.
Thank you, Maggie, again, also for sharing your very personal story. And again, it just shows the same thing. Even from a young age, like Shakira and Imani, and you are that age as well, you already have to start thinking of how you're going to respond to these people. Yeah, and they will insult you either way. You've just stressed the point again, all the way from Kenya to Denmark, the same thing. And actually, I was shocked during this campaign to read the Kenya statistics that they were from 2014. That was the last time the government collected any data about violence towards women and girls, 2014. And then I read further and it said 60 to 80% or something, I can't remember it was a high percentage of women and men thought that it was okay for a woman to be that it was normal for a woman to be physically abused by her husband. This is just bizarre. I couldn't believe it. Women themselves, they thought it's just part of life or culture or whatever. That was very shocking for me. Anyway, thank you very much for your point, Maggie. I don't know if Chirigo has a final point, or is it Keshi, and then we can finish up.
Catherine.
Yeah. No, just actually I was going to say something else, but I meet you with your 2014 in Germany. The police only started to register and collect data about femicides in 2015. So and now we've got it, but it's still, I mean, there's a high dark number of cases not being reported. But again, that's a topic for a different day. When we were talking about, because today we sort of, through that incident in Liverpool, we talked more about incidences that happen with strangers. Yeah. And, and often we would hear, and I just had this thought, people would say, yeah, but, I'm a man and I'm afraid if I go out at night and I meet someone. But I mean, I think it's actually very, very different because we have a physical disadvantage in many ways. And sometimes we don't. Maybe we are the stronger one. We're meeting someone, an aggressor, and he's much weaker, much smaller than us. But I think we also have a cultural disadvantage because we are not taught as children, as women, to be aggressive, to use our fists to physically defend ourselves. We are taught to socially to use words to defend ourselves. I'm not trying to say we now should teach our girls. I mean, maybe some self-defense is helpful, but I'm not saying we should teach our girls to be aggressive and use our fists to fight. But I think it is another difference to a man being out, to a woman being out, that we have this cultural disadvantage, and it just makes us again more of a target compared to a man that might be out.
Thank you, Catherine. There you have it. It's two things: the physical advantage you saw there with Imani. I mean, she was scared, and she also had other girls there with them, but still was scared. And in that instance, even though that man there might say, I would also be scared, it took a man to come to this guy to get him away. And Imani has made a point there in the chat I've seen where she said men are scared of being beaten or robbed. Women are scared of being raped and murdered. So it's just, it's a different...
many layers. There's many layers for women involved.
So many layers. Their fear is not our fear, somebody said. And I've seen another nice comment. Thank you guys for the comments as well. They are afraid of fellow men, not women. That's a good one.
That's a good one too, yeah.
Of women, exactly. That's a good one. this is such a good discussion. I know we thought it would be short, but it's obvious this kind of thing cannot be a short discussion. I'm looking to see if there was another nice comment.
I would like to make a comment just to emphasize why this campaign, 16 Days of Activism, is very important. And I'm referring to this case of Turkey again, that in Turkey, why these women were demanding that their government come back on that Istanbul Agreement is that between January and October 2021, 225 women were killed in Turkey.
Wow.
It's just that, is that 6 months or how many months is that? 10 months. Can you imagine? So a separate tracker documenting the names of women killed as a result of violence puts the number of victims at 353 in total for 2021. That's why this campaign, 16 Days of Activism, is very important, because we want to put emphasis on that women are not safe. And it's not just in one part, it's not just in Turkey, it's around the world. So it's good to remember this, and that's why it's good for Wings has had this campaign, like others, about saying her name and putting the faces of these women, so that people can see these are human beings. These are mothers, sisters, girlfriends, children. So people can actually think, and those who make these rules and change whatever, they can look at that and see what can be done to stop this this atrocity against women.
Yeah, thank you very much, Keshi. Also, I didn't know these shocking statistics from Turkey, which women are now trying to protest again, and then they're criminalized. They're told you're going to be jailed for doing that. It's like, wow. So we should shut up and go away and keep dying. That's a big shock. And Kiriko just said, these women are not just numbers, they're actual people. This is why we have our campaign. This is why we're wearing orange. We're trying to raise awareness. We're trying to say her name, so they're not just a statistic. One last point, Catherine, you said we're not taught to be physical. It's more verbal as girls. And then just 2 weeks ago, we did a session where we realized that the criminal justice system then punishes women harsher when they use physical violence, even for self-defense. So what message is that sending to women? Be quiet, be humble, or speak, whatever it is, it's not a good message. Because we would like to also be, defend ourselves physically and whatever, but then you're also scared of, will I then be, because the women are punished more harshly when they use physical strength in terms of defending themselves, which is just
we're not even allowed
ridiculous.
to carry weapons.
We are not allowed to carry weapons.
They hit us, punch us, with their brute strength or whatever, but we cannot carry, even
we cannot carry pepper spray.
Pepper spray.
In Denmark,
Even if you have something that can form as a weapon, the same, I think Karigo was saying this, we can't even wear rings, because if we use it, someone would say, like, were you wearing them to use to hurt someone with?
It's about intent, isn't it? Well, you wore that, there was the intent, and then you're sentenced more harshly. This is a big discussion for another day. Kiriko, thank you again for making it very clear that this isn't just a man-bashing session. We know that there are many good men out there, but also there's a societal problem. There is a societal problem. There is a lot of patriarchy going on where women are not, even by the law, are not protected. So next time we meet, we're going to discuss what can be done. We'll give our suggestions as women as to what do we think should be done to change things societally and also culturally. So thank you very much for joining us, panelists. I think it's so important that we take the time to join in these kind of campaigns. And for a very long time, I personally didn't know about this campaign. So we need to raise awareness about it, the 16 days every year, to other women, to men, and to any allies. Thank you for joining. Thanks for all your comments, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share all those nice positive things so that we can keep providing these nice discussions. Thank you guys and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.